Do you guys use callouts when you play?
We try, but we're still learning it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that might be something that's good for us to talk about a little bit. With callouts, first of all, the most important thing is to say as little as possible, like to take up as little space on the mic as possible when you tell someone something. So I'm not saying like don't use callouts often. I'm saying when you call out, make them very short. Try to just like cut syllables wherever you can. So, I suspect that there may be a 52 gal that is approaching our position. Oh, diggity darn. We've been splatted. You know, that takes too long. 52 pushing plat. Much faster. Everybody still knows what's going on. This is not the time for complete sentences. A lot of the time people are going to say stuff like, I'm sorry, or, oh my god, I thought I could hit those shots. You generally want to keep the comms as clean as possible, because if something gets distracting to the people who are on the call, or if there's something that's emotionally charged or something like that, that can have a negative impact on the game. It can make it so that they're distracted from what they actually have to be thinking about. It's extra syllables, and as long as you can keep extra syllables off the mic, that's ideal. So this is something that actually helps a lot with tilting too. Like if you're one of the type who like tilts internally, where you get down on yourself for making a mistake, then this can keep you more positive because you're not verbalizing that you feel bad about how you played. And if you're the type who externalizes your tilt, if you're the type who like blames something else, then you're more likely to, avoid saying that and look for blame in your own play and not just in what was around you. So either way, usually a good idea to just keep the comms to information about the game that your team needs to hear. And so having a few of these like templates in your head of how to make a call out, they help a lot. So for instance, and this might actually be good for me to pull up a Google Doc for. So these are just going to be some like call out templates. So this is a really common one. 52 plat. Or usually you'd have to say something like 52 hour plat to specify which plat. But this way, it's very obvious, like you don't need any of the extra syntax or anything. There is a 52 gal on our plat. You just shorten it to 52 or gal our plat. And that's super quick. And that way you get that information across. So having that as a planned thing that you might say instead of the 52 is pushing our plat, that's going to be much more useful because people will get the warning faster. The sooner that you're done saying the call out, the faster they'll be able to start processing the call out in their heads, and the sooner they'll be able to act on it. So then another one that I like using is I'm down, comma, weapon that got me. And I might add a location if they've moved or something. So I might say, I'm down. So I'm down, they're on snipe. Would be a way to do that.
All right, I'm on tower.
Wait.
Another thing that's really useful when you call that I'm down is the location that the player is at. So like knowing that the dapples got them, that's helpful if you know where the dapples are. You know they have to be somewhere in the area, but like, are the dapples behind tower? Are the dapples in front of tower? A really powerful call out in a situation like that is behind. That's all you really need. Behind. because then what's going to happen? Someone's going to look behind them. Another way to think about it is to use that call out relative to the objective. So if you call behind, then the tower rider is going to know it's behind the tower. And that's a way to communicate where they're at before having to think, wait, they're on the right glass. No, wait, they're on the right block. No, they're shooting you in the back. You know, instead of having to think about the call out, it's just behind you. And that's we've got kind of a primal response to that call out that will help us know what's going on and keep us safe.
Special.
This next one is really, really important for frontliners to be using. Push, insert location here. So push right, push left, push their plat. These kinds of calls are going to get everybody on your team looking at the same thing. So even if you're not in a position to affect plat right now, if you're in a position where you can protect the teammates who are pushing plat from getting flanked, you're still helping the team push plat. But with this kind of a call out, the team now has a plan. All 4 of you are doing the same thing. You understand what the game plan is. And you don't want any more than one of these happening at any one given point in time, because if you do have too many more of these, you're splitting the team up, and splitting the team up is not what you want. If you split the team up, not everyone is there to take part in that fight, and the enemy team could, in theory, trade them all back. You expect that fights are going to go 1 for 1 unless you're able to create some kind of advantage in them. And so if you run out of players to help create those advantages, you end up losing those kinds of fights. So to get everybody taking the same fight at the same time, calling push and then the name of a location is a great template to use for your callouts. Another great thing about this callout is that it's not just a location. Like if you call that there is a weapon on a certain location, that's useful information, but what if one player decides that they're going to fight that guy and another player decides that they're going to run away from that guy, right? You don't have the idea of what it is you want to do about them if that's all you call. So saying to push this location, that's going to get everyone doing the same kind of thing, and that's how your team is going to coordinate a little bit better. Another really valuable thing to be talking about is when you use your special. So I'm using... So maybe I'm using Booyah, I'm crabbing, I'm using missiles. Whatever it is that you're going to use... you want your teammates to know about that, because remember earlier I talked about how I was popping the Booyah Bomb and that I wanted you guys to push with that Booyah Bomb. Well, the reason that I'm calling it ahead of time is because the Booyah Bomb by itself is probably not going to splat anybody. But the Booyah Bomb with you guys pushing in to catch players as they run away from the Booyah Bomb, that's something that you guys are actually going to be able to make very good use of. Let people know that you're using your special, and that way they'll know to follow up on it, and you're more likely to get picks that way, and you're more likely to get value that way and take space.
Crap, should I use it now? Oh, never mind.
And generally, I see competitive players, they may talk about like when they want the specials used ahead of time, and maybe someone will call like Booyah this spot or something like that. But more often, you'll see people using their specials in the way that they think is best, because they're the ones who have the information about how best they can use it. So,
somebody's coming in.
Asking for permission might just be an extra step that makes it take too long to actually get it used. Probably just throw it out there. Better to use the special and get your next special farmed sooner than to never use the special. The only time I would say don't use the special is if you're not in a position where it's going to get you control of the objective or keep you control of the objective. One other thing that's really important to talk about on callouts is when to take tower and who should take tower, or like playing the objective. So saying paint zone, pop Rainmaker, get on tower, get clams, things like that, or like throw me clams. All of those sorts of ideas for specific ranked modes are really important, because as soon as anyone on your team recognizes that you have enough of an advantage to start playing the objective, you want to be playing it right away. Numbers advantage really doesn't last long in this game. You do not get to play the objective for very long before you're going to get contested again. So every second that you can be playing the objective, you want to be playing the objective to take full advantage of all of that time. I'm pushing X back me up is too many syllables, and I would just put that under this call out right here. Push insert location here. They don't need to know that you're also pushing it. They just need to know what they should be doing next. So this cuts way more syllables out of that. Oh, another good one would be talking about numbers advantage. So things like they're a certain number of players down. So there are 3 down equals there's 1 player remaining. We're X number of players down, which is usually something that you use to inform someone that, hey, we might not want to stay taking a fight here since we've got a lot of players that are still on respawn and we don't want to stagger. And another great one is just insert player tag here, back up, or jump out is another good one. All of those would be like, you got splatted, you're looking at the map on respawn, because that's what you should always be doing. Just always have the map open while you're spawning. You will see more and be able to give your teammates more information that way. Have that map open, and if you see that a player is overextended, if you see that one of your teammates is like diving into enemy ink, be like, so-and-so back up, or so-and-so jump out. And that'll help keep them safe so that your team doesn't stagger. Best call out, I'm scared. And that can be helpful. I've heard a lot of call outs like that from Devi in her time that's informed me that, oh, our backliner is currently being flanked. There was a tweet that I really liked that Chara made, where he was like, I love Splatoon. In Splatoon, I can just say on the comms, F off Spider-Man, and everybody on my team knows exactly what I'm talking about. I think that's beautiful. This is a pretty good, like, starting list of things to get used to saying. If you never say these kinds of things, start looking for situations while you're playing to be able to say them. Just like, think about it like it's an English assignment where you've got to write a paper or something, and the teacher wants you to use all of your vocabulary words. Well, in a match of Splatoon, try to use all of your callouts to get maximum points. Have your little bingo card that you're filling out or something. But it gives you enough that you can start having some meaningful things that you're saying on the mic that will definitely give your team information that they need without overwhelming your brain so much trying to formulate the words and phrases. Now, one challenge is anywhere it says location, we are actually talking about map location callouts. And that is a challenge. When we're talking about those, we're talking about these lists like this, where like these are the names of these locations. And there are a lot of those. It takes some time to memorize those. So this might be something where you try and practice them like flashcards. Like, man, why is this a vocabulary lesson? Why did this become an English class? But like memorize them like you would memorize things on flashcards. Just look at the map for a second, get everything in your head, and then put your hand over it and like just point to a spot and be like, that is booth. And that one is perch. And then just check yourself by pulling it back up again afterwards to see that you got it right. So that'd be a good way to do it.
Do you practice callouts in solo queue?
I tend not to, because I know that my teammates will not respond to them. And I want to practice calling out in a way that they will actually respond. So, for example, what might help is like maybe just when you get splatted, get in the habit of saying, I'm down, wiper our snipe or something like that to and maybe that's a habit that doesn't really interfere with you playing and doesn't change the way that anything will go. Maybe you can do little things like that, but callouts are often like push right, push right, push right. And in the situation that you're calling that, you're also going to go and push right really hard yourself. But in solo queue, your teammates are not going to know you're shouting push right. So if you push right that hard, you're going to push in by yourself and get splatted. So it disincentivizes you in solo queue from making the kinds of plays you can make using callouts, which means that you're not really going to practice what you're going to be practicing in a normal environment. Like, if you listen to top level callouts, it's literally just like Kyo shouting at a single location at the top of his lungs like 6 times in a row.
Behind. Wait.
And trying to get everybody on top of that one spot. Because that's the kind of thing you can do. You can just get everyone to look at one player and rush that one player. It happens even in other games. Like in League of Legends, if you listen to their callouts in a team fight, they're just shouting the name of the character that they want you to kill.
Going on rise, rise. He's ulted. He's dead. Well, next, listen. I'm on Lee.
That's all that's happening there. There's nothing like super tactical or unique that they're trying to pull off because they already have all of those plans figured out ahead of time. They've talked about those as a team before the match started, so they don't have to do anything except shout the name of the character that they want everyone to focus at that moment. And everybody else then gets to just focus on playing the game instead of having to have this verbal communication that's taking some time and taking their brain power away from taking the fight. So, good question. Leroy Jenkins is also a valid call out. You can put that one on there if you want. That indicates I'm feeding.
Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins!
Oh my god, he just ran in.
It's not a very helpful call out, but at least it's informative.